5 years, Benjamin.
All right. Let's see. Audacity, are you working, you dumb cunt? Oh, looky there. Looks like the dumb cunt is at work.
You stupid. You stupid
No
bitch.
good motherfucker, son of a bitch.
Fucking piece of crap, dude.
Get away from her, you son of a bitch.
You
Die,
get
you
away
son of a
from her,
bitch.
you bitch.
They should replace Ripley with like Ripley should be the sheriff from Jaws, and the sheriff from Jaws should be Ripley.
Oh my god, that's an interesting thought. Have fucking
Switch the
what is his name? It's something Schneider, isn't it? It's not Rob
fucking
Schneider.
fine.
Hold on.
I don't know.
gonna
I know
find
the
out.
one guy was
Roy Schneider.
Not Roy.
Fucking Roy
Yeah.
Schneider plays. Would he play Ripley but in drag? Is that what?
I just want to hear him say, "Get away from her, you son of a bitch."
I want to hear Sigourney Weaver say, "Smile, you son of a bitch." Can you imagine Sigourney
hold on,
Weaver?
hold on.
Can you imagine
We
her
gotta clap.
being? Oh, hold on. Can you imagine her being in that fucking? All right. Hold on. We'll just start this part over. All right. 3, 2, 1. Did you hear it?
No, I didn't know if you were gonna say clap. I didn't clap. All right, 3, 2, 1, clap. All right.
He said, I didn't know you were gonna say clap.
I didn't. I just sat there. I sat there and I half clapped and was like, wait. He didn't say clap.
Oh fuck, dude, he didn't clap. Anyway.
I thought, no, I jump, you jump.
No, we jump on jump. No, dude, we jump on one. Oh, dude, fucking, so, welcome back to the house.
Welcome to, yeah.
Fuck! God damn it, Dylan! Welcome back to the House of the Faded Sun. We're faded right now. Ugh.
I'm fucking psyched for this.
This is gonna be a good one. Also, happy birthday to Slash, one of the best guitarists around.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be his birthday when this comes out, but it's his birthday right now, so.
True. When we're recording this, it's his birthday. You can look it up. Fuck you. You don't need to know.
Yeah, dude. We're gonna leave little breadcrumbs for you so you can figure out when we record.
Also, hot take here: Guns N' Roses wasn't his best band.
No, they're not. I don't know if
Maybe
I've
not
said
so.
this to you, Dylan, but I've certainly said this before. I think Guns N' Roses is a little overrated.
They have some great songs.
Yes.
I don't know if they're everlasting glory like, in my opinion, his best band, Velvet Revolver.
I actually haven't listened to a lot of Velvet Revolver.
It's got Scott Weiland as the lead singer, Duff McKagan on bass, and the drummer, I can't remember, but sorry.
Sorry, bub. You're not good enough.
But I fucking love that band, and they make some great music. They have a lot where Scott Weiland, because it combined 80s like instrumental with 90s like grunge lyrics, because Scott Weiland like wrote a lot about like his addictions and shit, and so it had like they have songs about like depression and addiction and everything, and so I fucking love it for that. Also, Scott Weiland kind of low-key got Slash back on drugs after 20 years of being sober, so
That's always
unfortunate
cool.
there. Yeah, it was
Good guy.
unfortunate combo there, but Slash got sober again. Scott didn't, but
There you go, Slash. You're doing God's work out there for yourself. Happy birthday.
happy birthday, motherfucker.
Happy birthday, guy. All right, Dylan. So we're gonna bite a chunk out of this here
Yeah.
subject we
All
got
right,
this
so-
week.
We are doing a series based around my personal favorite show of all time, The Midnight Gospel. If you go on Netflix, it's created by Duncan Trussell and the guy that did Adventure Time, right?
Pendleton Ward.
Thank you. I always remember his name as Penn something, but I never fucking remember the rest. Pendleton
All you
Ward and
Zoomers
Duncan
out there will
Trussell.
know.
Yeah, and it is tremendous. In my eyes, wholeheartedly, it is probably amongst my favorite thoughtful shows ever, and it will put you deep in a thought wave. Like your mind wants to think while watching this, and I quite enjoy shows like that. And then it makes you think.
Yes,
And
definitely
it helped.
does.
It changed my life forever. It has, like, in terms of like some of the concepts and meditating on the things that it's saying. And the further we go into it, the further I think y'all will understand.
Yes. Yes,
Fucking
sir.
ready, dude.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited
Yeah,
to
dude.
to introduce you to this, and like how fun it's been to me to like that you actually like are like getting further into it and liking it more.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
rewatching some of the episodes.
Oh, yeah, I just watched the first 3 episodes twice in 1 week, so yay.
But you catch something new every time, is it not? Like,
Yeah. It's a
I
lot more interesting to go over it with a fine-tooth comb and dig into what they're saying and think about it more while you're taking notes on it.
completely agreed. Sitting there with a notebook while watching this show is the best way to watch it.
I was watching one of the episodes and I kept having to go back just so I could like continue with what they're saying, because when I wrote down my notes I was just kind of writing down what they're saying, then we could go over like how we feel about it.
Gotcha. Okay. I did that somewhat, but like I wrote into what my thoughts were on it to make sure I don't lose that thought. But yeah, 100%. Fucking awesome. I'm excited to go over this. Let's do it. First episode.
First things
I don't-
first.
Where's your shatter?
No. Funny guy. No. First things first is that the song they play at the beginning is Kentucky Bluegrass, and I love it.
Yes, sir.
That's
Let
what
me
got
put
me
that in
hooked.
my notes. I'm about to add that shit in the description.
If you want to hear it, I forgot what it was called.
I think it's On the Rolling Hills.
Across the Rolling Hills by Peter Rowan Bluegrass Band. Give it a listen. It slaps. But do you want to go over like what the premise is of the show first, like what the background of it is?
I guess we should give them a little intro to what it's about in the first place. Do you want it or you want me to take it?
I think you could probably explain it better to me. I think because it's I don't know.
Okay.
It's maybe we'll see. I'll judge how you
I-
do and then decide if I need to do it too.
I listen to a lot of Duncan Trussell, pretty much, and so I used to. I've since kind of slowed down just because my mind hit a wall of thinking too much. But all right, Duncan basically created the show around his podcast, which he has recorded with some of the most interesting people to ever walk this fucking earth, and it is fascinating to hear their different ideologies and different beliefs and philosophies. All right, and they visually, it's very stimulating because Pendleton Ward took the podcast, listened to it like over and over, and then created a board around it. And the visuals don't always have to do exactly with what is being said. In a lot of ways, it doesn't, but in some ways, it does. It's a deep version of the other side, another basically metaphor for the same thing that they're talking about, and the main character Clancy gets into basically a universe simulator, and that's where my first note begins, because the universe simulator, when he clicks in and is transported to these other universes that he decides to go to, he has to put his head inside of the transporter, which looks like a vagina, and that's purposeful. And like that's where my first note begins, is because like that there's like we have to hold respect for women, and like the reason that we are all here is because of that like thing. That very thing is the reason all of us exist, and that all of like that we can understand and fucking love and feel and see and all of that. Everything exists because of vagina, and that is a tremendous wholehearted like thing to push women upward and hold them with such like reverence, because without them we would not be here.
I gotta be honest. I didn't read that deep into the vagina transporter.
It's something for me that I took very like interesting, because like everything in this show means something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything's deliberately placed there because it's animated.
Yeah, no matter how minuscule it seems, they meant it to be there for a reason.
Yeah, like
So that's fascinating to me.
like
that I
Joey
like
Diaz.
To even shoot into these other universes of experiences, you have to go in and out of the vagina.
And the reason he has his computer that, or his, I guess it's a universe simulator, is he's going to these other universes to kind of to interview simulated people that have interesting stories for a podcast that he does in space. He's a little wizard guy. I like him.
I fucking love Clancy. My favorite character in a show ever.
And then the characters that he interviews are the people that he interviewed on his podcast. By the way, they're
yeah,
voiced
so
by
they
them.
use actual like podcast dialogue in the show, and then some of it are sound bits that like they actually went in a sound studio and re-recorded. But as you'll learn in like some of the later episodes, that was impossible because some of those people had already passed away. So they use directly from the podcast to create an episode, which I that is fucking awesome to me.
I am very excited for those episodes. I think they will be. There will be some heavy hitters.
I mean, the amount of tears I've shed because of this fucking show is tremendous. I have a burnt wood cup holder thing. What's it called? Like the thing that you put on a table to stop drinks from
Coaster.
A burnt wood coaster, and it's a Midnight Gospel scene that Piper got me.
That's fucking badass. I never noticed that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it tattooed one of these days.
That'd be cool.
We'll see.
Send me a picture of it.
Yeah, I gotta post that, I guess, in the video splice. Speaking of which, sorry about the troubles we're having with Spotify and getting it on there. Spotify is being a real bitch sometimes. It'll tell me that it's working, and then it's fucking not. And it'll say it's posted, and I'll look, and it'll be posted. And then I get on there fucking the next day, and it's no longer on there. So I am unsure what the fuck is going on.
What?
Still figuring that out. But we'll take care of that. It's okay, guys. That's on us.
Everything's fine.
You've got nothing to worry about. Just get on YouTube, look at us, subscribe to us, give us a little kiss. I don't care. Send a butthole back. Whatever.
Oh, that's
What?
sad. No, I'm not talking about your butthole. I don't want to see that. Get that out of here. I've seen it enough. Yeah.
The picture of like what the coaster is. Yeah. All right. You have to once you get to that episode. Have you watched that episode yet? It's the last
No.
episode of the season.
I have only watched the first 3 episodes twice.
Fuck yes. Okay. I'm so fucking ready to go through this.
Do I have to come over and watch it with you so you can see me be sad?
Oh fuck. You might watch me cry, dog.
Oh.
We any kind of intoxicant. I'm gonna be
It
fucking.
doesn't matter what it is. I'll be crying.
I fucking love you, bro. I
No
fucking
one's
love
just
you, man.
smoking a cigar. He's like,
I'm so excited.
all right, well, let's get into this. Let's get into this here. This first episode. What's the
First episode, he was
called?
interviewing Dr. Drew.
Who is
You don't know
Dr.
who that
Drew?
is?
I don't know who that is.
He had a show on TV forever, and like that, like he is an actual doctor, like physician, and is still practicing medicine. But he has a very interesting outlook on like the world, and he did a lot involving sex education, especially, and I don't know, it helped me a lot, like to learn a lot of things involving sex education was watching his shit on YouTube. He actually works through YMH, which is Tom Segura there, and Christina P, his wife, like it's their channel, and they host his podcast and stuff. It's called Dr. Drew After Dark. Highly recommend you watch any of that. It's fascinating. I fucking love it because like learning new shit about like the human body and the human experience through that is pretty cool to me.
Yeah, man, that sounds cool.
Dr. Drew's the shit.
I liked
he's, like,
what he
70
had
and
to say
jacked.
here. He what?
He's like 60 something. I'm sorry, not 70, but he's jacked.
I was gonna say he didn't sound 70 when I was watching that.
Let me look it up. I'm gonna see how old Dr. Drew is. Now that I say that, how old is Dr. Drew? He is 64. Apologies.
Oh,
Didn't mean to call you 70. My bad, friend.
yeah, Dr.
just
Drew, you're a cool guy.
He's a cool fucking dude.
All right. What are you gonna say?
No.
Oh,
Go.
sorry.
Whatever.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
What's your
I
first
didn't mean to
notepad?
cut you off. So the first thing that kind of stood out to me, other than the music from like the cold opening they kind of did. I don't know if you could really call it a cold opening, but it was pre when they started talking about the podcast, like the bluegrass music I liked a lot. But one of the things they were talking about at the start of the first interview was a study showing that in places that had that had legalized recreational marijuana, that led to less deaths from opiates. And I thought that was a very interesting statistic to find.
I
And
fucking wrote down the exact same thing.
I knew you would.
Like, the fact that we live in... 'cause the big thing is the fact that we live in Kentucky. And where is the opiate epidemic? Like, everybody knows is Eastern Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had many conversations with friends about this. Like, it is so fucking dumb when you have statistical evidence to ignore that because it can't be... because it's not subsidized. Because there's not money in it, per se. They won't allow you to fucking recreational legalize pot so that you can then help out these people who this helps with pain, this helps with addiction, and they don't allow it. Like, whatever the powers to be that allow these things to go into regulation. Like, do you understand that Kentucky is a commonwealth? Like, we are the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Do you know what that means?
No, I really don't. They didn't really teach that in high school.
A commonwealth can decide on which federal laws it wants to actually uphold and not.
What?
And so we, as a commonwealth, can decide to go against the federal law of of the criminalization of marijuana to then make it legalized here in this state. All we have to do is not have these old cunts that are super fucking like stuck in their ways being in like the House of Representatives and the Senate here in Kentucky, and we could simply just have like these fucking drug laws go away because we can decide to do that as a commonwealth.
Well, that's what California and Michigan did, and Illinois.
But they're not even commonwealths.
But they're not commonwealths.
That's what pisses me off is that we are fucking like that's why that we wrote our fucking Kentucky Constitution. Why we are a commonwealth is because we can say fuck you,
Not
and
only
they
that.
still don't fucking do it.
Like, it's not even like only that, but like I'm pretty sure I've read or heard that Kentucky is one of the biggest producers of marijuana.
Bro. Oh. All right. You want to start? Cornbread Mafia. The reason that the Cornbread Mafia was able to exist in Kentucky and last for so long was because the guy that created it, he basically made deals with these farmers who were having their land was going to be taken by the banks. He said, "I'll give you money and I'll let you you can keep your farm. Just allow me to grow some weed in here. Like you can still grow your acreage, but let me grow weed in mixed in with your corn and shit." And the farmers did make a deal with them. Okay, he gave them a loan. They're all good, and they created a bond there. Well, that lasted forever because he actually created relationships with these farmers. He actually was nice to these people and didn't try and take their fucking land and strong arm them in any way. They felt responsibility to pay people back and did what they needed to do to, uphold their end of the deal. And so he never got fucking snitched on.
God.
That's the holiest shit. Like, why? Like, when it comes to like having loyalty to the people, like that dude showed loyalty to these people, helped them out, and they helped him out, and they created a community. And I believe in that's how it's supposed to be in the first place. I don't know. It pisses me off that dude's in jail right now because he had to flee to Canada and then ended up getting fucking deported back.
I always find it fascinating how you can hear a lot of stories about people in criminal organizations, and they do some of the most charitable work, but they're still bad people at the same time.
So they say.
Yeah, I mean that's what we see. But then you'll hear stories like that where they basically just save people from depression.
Yep. Fucking help people out from losing their farms and shit, and then he's demonized because he grows a plant that naturally grows in the fucking earth.
Mm-hmm. I was more talking about the Italian mob, but I don't know much about the Cornbread Mafia.
I mean, when it comes to some of them, like Al Capone, I mean, he legit did hurt people.
Yeah.
Like the Valentine's Day Massacre, where they dressed up as cops, took people into a fucking warehouse, and then just shot them all.
Yeah. It's wild. It is insane. But yeah, we went on a little tangent there from the Midnight Gospel.
Yeah, not everybody's a good person. There we go.
Some people are pretty okay. Other people are Al Capone.
Yeah, but the going back to it, I mean, just like yeah, like weed helps like a lot of these people and a lot of like I mean, you want to talk about like everybody's like California weed's good, Colorado weed's the best. You understand that like Kentucky has the best fucking soil. Like the reason that we're the tobacco state is because our soil is so rich in nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
If we grew like weed for the rest of the world, we would have the best weed. There's no way. Like the nutrition in the fucking soil here naturally would be tremendous. And then guess what? All like the opiate epidemic would fucking calm down a lot. Statistically speaking, that like it is shown to help.
Yeah, like I remember in the show when I was watching it, they mentioned Duncan first mentions that one study showed that I think it was like 30% of people with when they got recreational marijuana, the deaths from it went down, and then Dr. Drew actually brought up that there's been another study since then that he didn't give the exact numbers, but it's increased a lot for people that haven't died from opiates because of recreational marijuana.
And it's a very positive thing. It's you like. All right, so my next note was like pot can be used as a tool, like because he talks about like it also helps the mind in terms of like recognizing like your issues. Like people talk about like having a marijuana overdose, quote unquote. Like you basically just get so high that you're super fucking paranoid and freak out a little bit. But like, why are you freaking out? And if you actually look into it, a lot of times like the people have reasons to freak out, and so like it brings about like an awareness that you wouldn't otherwise think about because it forces you to kind of meditate on the things going on in your mind. Why are you such a cunt when you get home from work? Why are you so angry? Like, why do you hit your kids? Like, what is that inside you that's doing that? And a lot of it is just unhappiness and not being okay with where you are. And so like people never meditate on that. People never think about that. They just see it as like, I'm fucking angry, let me take it out on somebody. And so like weed's been is a great drug for like having that awareness of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that quote, or well, not quote, but that note you had, that one really hit on me because I understand that because whenever I do smoke, don't show this to the law. Whenever I do smoke, I tend to get really anxious for not like I don't know. I just get anxious about stuff, and it makes you start considering a lot when you smoke too much. It makes you think about your problems and issues you have, and it can kind of point you towards something that you need to go out and fix.
I like Duncan talking about like whenever like he like will get like too high, like he'll be like, all right, well, like damn it, like I need to work out more. Why ain't I doing that? I need to read. I need to like meditate more, and it just makes you recognize things in yourself that you need to work on. And a lot of people don't want to face the music when it comes to like, oh yeah, I'm not perfect. I need to actually recognize like I have some issues that need to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like all right, so a note I wrote down because I remember a guy on a podcast and I don't remember what, so sorry I can't quote you exactly, but like advice wise, write down all the things that are bothering you right now about yourself or in your life. Look at those things. All the things that you cannot control, mark out, because it's not worth your time to worry about if you can't do anything about it. And all the things that you can control, now write a plan on how to take care of those things and go about it. That seems a very useful exercise that takes less than 15 minutes.
For sure. I mean, like any kind of introspection on yourself is always a useful exercise.
That's so I had a conversation with somebody last night and they were talking about how they hate philosophy, and one of my things to me is just like, dude, it's the most fascinating thing because it's making me have to recognize in myself all the flaws and then actually like address those. And like also your philosophy and looking out at the world, like I'm not stuck in a rat race, but I can like see the beauty for what it is. I don't have to look and be like, oh fuck, I'm not a doctor yet. Fuck, somebody kill me. Like no, like all right, well, do I do a service that helps the people around me, or I help support the people around me? Yeah. And can I look at the trees and understand that those trees were dinosaurs millions of years ago that died, and their cells went into the earth and reintroduced themselves into the life cycle of the earth, and now it's a tree, and then that tree is going to die in millions of years and possibly be a human, and when that human like has those cells because they've gone through the life cycle of the earth, like they get to live and experience, and understanding that I am also like a human that is built up of a clump of cells that like was a tree millions of years ago that died and reintroduced itself. Like that's a fascinating fucking concept to understand that we're all interconnected in like who we are and what we are. And so like why can you not find the beauty in every day in recognizing that philosophy and actually like thinking about it? People just don't want to get introspective in that way.
I think it scares people a little bit to think about stuff like that because it's a very wide concept. Yeah, but people don't like things that scare them. They don't like to dig into it.
If you always chase comfort, you're never going to be outside of a chair.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. If you, that's where like why I love like the David Goggins shit. That's like do one thing a day that sucks. Like that's his like rule. And like, okay, that's what's up, because if you chase comfort, you're just it's useless. You're just gonna be in the same fucking place tomorrow.
Stagnant.
But if you do something today that sucks and figure out, all right, well tomorrow, like the way that you get a muscle, the way that your muscles grow is by tearing it. The muscle fibers tear and then grow back and they're stronger. And so you need to break in order to fix and be stronger.
And so I got these cannons, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All day.
Oh, yeah.
All day.
Yeah, when we were at the reunion, I had another interesting conversation too with the person I was talking to. It shows like just people's perspectives, because I was talking to her and she was like, man, you got it together. You're doing better than I am. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? I just thought that was a wacky thing to say to me, but I was like, I have been thinking I've been doing like the worst out of anybody and then somebody comes up to me for the first time in 5 years like, oh man, you're doing better than I am. I was like, dude, I fucking dropped out of college in like 2018. But
it's all perspective. And what have you been told? What have you been taught? And like I went off about this last night after we left your place, because like what you're told in like society now, that if you don't go to college and you don't get a degree, like you're pretty much like fuck you in terms of like being able to support yourself and your family. But look at the jobs right now that are actually the most useful and what's gonna be a guaranteed job in the next 50 years. It's gonna actually be trade and any kind of like
one of the most important jobs in society, and you can make a ton of money doing it, is being a truck driver. Like you unless they go to completely like robotic semi trucks, there will always be a demand for drivers, and you will always make money as a driver, and you will always be needed. There is nothing in America that is not transported via a semi truck.
Amen, sir.
Like, and you don't need a college degree. All you have to do is know how to drive a car. Then you learn how to drive a semi truck and get your CDL. That's all you need. And then you get the experience working at some companies that let you come in early, and then you can move up to companies that'll pay more. Like, it's absurd. Like, I do truck drivers payroll at my job. I know how much they make. It is wild.
So I look at this and I am jealous.
I am very jealous.
I understand. I mean, it's a way of living, and like if you're willing to sacrifice, like, all right, well, and like some people bring their families with them on the road.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. I've seen husbands and wives be team drivers. I've seen a guy take his wife with him wherever he went, or not all the time, but sometimes he would. And I've seen him train his son on the road too. He would take his son out and teach him how to use maps.
It's not like you're you're useless, and it's not like you're away from your family guaranteed anymore. It's not the old way of doing it. Like now there are you can actually have some kind of like family life.
All right, plus you can talk to him every night on the phone.
Facts. Now you can FaceTime. That's the biggest thing that I'm trying to get better about using a fucking cellular device for. It's like, oh yeah, I can like FaceTime these people and call them, and like I'm not good at that yet.
I can see your beautiful face.
Yeah, like I want to see these motherfuckers. I want to talk to them. I'm not good at reaching out, but like I'll answer the phone.
Yeah, me
I'm
either.
trying to get better at doing the opposite.
Yeah, that's the hard part, is reaching out to people.
But it's all love, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing, like amongst guys, I've noticed, like it's so easy to just like pick up where we left off, like after not talking for over a year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing that with some of my female friends. They are not happy. Are we even friends still?
It's like,
Yeah. Like,
why are you asking that hard question?
yeah, I thought we
I
were
thought
cool.
so.
Nothing negative happened. Time just went on between
Time
us. Like,
happened, but that's it.
yeah. Like, I didn't say anything. I'm pretty sure I didn't do
Let me
anything.
read this here notes that I've got. Oh, they during the interview they were talking in it, as they do, and they were mentioning that drugs intrinsically aren't good or bad. What makes them good or bad is how humans use them. Like, for
Yes.
instance, Valium. Valium's the sleeping pill, right? Am I right?
In a way.
I don't know. I don't know
Let me
drug
go ahead.
names.
I know benzodiazepines is like it's basically a Xanax. It's like a Xanax is a benzo, and so a Valium is also a benzo.
Okay, so we'll take Valium. That was the example that Dr. Drew used in the podcast, and its relationship can be either good or bad because it can help people sleep. Yes, but if you take that into another environment, say you're at a party and you're taking benzos or Valium, and you combine that with another drug or an alcohol, then you are on the fast track to dying.
Yeah, alcohol and benzos is never a good combo because you won't wake up and you'll asphyxiate from throwing up.
Duncan Trussell actually almost died from that combination.
In fact, yeah. Hey, dude, he's lived a crazy fucking life. Like, if you ever want to look into somebody, look into fucking Duncan.
He
Yeah,
does not
Duncan's-
sound like somebody that's middle-aged. I thought he was like 30 when I first heard him talk.
Yeah, I love him. He's just an interesting guy, and he lives a young man's life. Like, he lives like a young dude because he went through a lot, like, really early. Like, he had testicular cancer and shit.
Oh,
and, like,
shit.
Only has like one ball now. Like, got his shit removed, and yeah, he.
They took his left nut and nom. If they
Yeah,
took
dude.
his left nut, is it still his left nut?
Fuck you.
Little Ready to
Oh,
Rumble
so-
reference there.
Benzodiazepine. So Valium specifically is used to treat anxiety, muscle spasms, and symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. And
Oh,
so
my bad.
a funny thing about this is that there are two drugs in this world, two types of drugs in this world that will cause you to die from withdrawals. Those are that is alcohol and benzodiazepines. So different benzos can actually cause you to die from withdrawal. So one of the things that treats alcohol withdrawal can actually also kill you from its withdrawal.
Cool. Isn't there something like that for heroin? That it's basically
Methadone?
just yeah, methadone.
It's more addictive, and it's like you can't really wean off.
Yeah.
Like, heroin, you can at least go to lower doses. When you take any kind of methadone lower dose, you actually go into withdrawal.
Why do they use these to help people?
Methadone was created basically to get off of heroin, and they never looked into the long-term side effects of it. Like, they don't. So I actually wrote down a note about that. So there's a part in towards the end of the episode where like there's all these zombies around pretty much, and like they're doing the interview walking through a zombie apocalypse. And at the end, like the guy that Dr. Drew is, the character in the show, he's a zombie. Well, these people come over the hill and they start shooting the antidote into all these people. Well, they're surrounded by zombies and they're randomly shooting the antidote into people. So some of the people are getting made back into humans and then eaten because they didn't do it in a proper like way of like doing it in an orderly fashion.
No, they just
And so that's something I take a lot of issue with in the like the community right now of like trust the science and like all of that shit. That doesn't make sense because the whole thing is that science is a question and it's meant to always be a process that is questioned. And so like you're meant to look into every aspect of like, okay, how can this go wrong and how can I address that before? Because if you don't, then things can go really bad. It's like every zombie movie like that I've seen like recently has been like, oh, you discovered a cure for cancer, and then that cure for cancer created the zombie virus. Yeah, that's something. If you don't do long-term studies and you don't give it the proper amount of time to see how these things are gonna like work out, you're gonna have a lot of issues in terms of side effects and stuff. And then I just, excuse me, I get frustrated by that whole fucking process because like some drugs are fast tracked and they're like, fuck yeah, this is a great miracle drug, there's definitely no side effects, and then all of a sudden like everybody starts growing a fucking third nipple and a second head. And but you know, like
I've got one that my mom's talked to me about. She has a friend
Yeah.
that's taken it. It's these shots that overweight people can get, and they make them shed weight.
Ozempic.
Is that what it is?
Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know what it's called. I just know it's the I'm gonna drop 40 pounds and start slowly dying drug.
Ozempic is like it's an injection that's like meant to help. Basically, you don't feel hungry, and it's like a dieting drug that's going on right now that helps people like lose weight supposedly. But like there are side effects that people have talked about, and it's just not super common yet, which is like it does something involving your insulin system, and insulin is what helps you break down sugars, so then you can actually become a diabetic when you get off of it. Like,
Dude, that's wild. That's like, if you're gonna lose weight, do it naturally, please.
yeah, diet and exercise is crazy, isn't it?
Don't. Coming from a fat person, you may scoff at me, but don't try and fast track it through drugs. Or surgeries. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but it makes. I don't like the idea of it.
Taking the path of least resistance teaches you the least.
Yes.
Like, do something every day that sucks, and like, okay, every day I need to do 30 push-ups, and then the next day, whenever 30 push-ups seems kind of easy, now I'm doing 50, and I'm like, fuck you, like and like kill that inner bitch inside you when it comes to like, I don't want to do that today. Like, no, like force yourself to do it, and you'll thank yourself a lot more, and you'll learn a lot more about yourself when you get on the other side rather than trying to fast track it.
Mm-hmm. Put it in the effort. Makes you appreciate that effort you did so much more.
Anytime somebody says this drug has no side effects, they're probably fucking lying.
Not scientifically possible.
Yeah, they're closing their eyes. They've got shutters around them that they just are tunnel visioned. It's the same thing as everybody that's like, dude, weed has no side effects. And it's like, no, there are studies that prove that like if you're actually between the ages of 17 to 24, if you use it in high doses, and you can actually, you know, lead to worse like bipolar disorder and schizophrenia later in age if you're predisposed to those things. So maybe you should. No, yeah, like there's being educated, and then there's not, and so anybody that tells you there are no side effects, you're fucking wrong. Like, you have to take everything into account. Yes. And that's the thing, like they talk about in the show whenever it comes to like taking psychedelics. Like there's the analogy or the metaphor of it. It's like, it's an analogy, I guess, because it's like it's like being on an elevator and you go to the top floor and you see all of this beauty and you see perfection and you see all of these people living in extreme harmony, and then the elevator door closes and you come back down to ground level. But Dr. Drew, as a physician, sees things in terms of, well, what if something goes wrong? That is the proper way to look at it, which is, what if something goes wrong? And the thing about that is, oh, fuck. Ben's internet dropped in the middle of that point.
Fuck.
It's okay.
I know where you were going, because I had that point wrote down as well. So,
are you still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Audacity's not connected to the internet.
All right, cool. Well, then, all right. So basically, yeah, like when like as a physician should, he looked at it in terms of, what if you don't stop at the ground floor when you come back down from the trip? What if it actually takes you to the basement and 2 levels down? And that is a correct way of looking at it. But Duncan's response is like, well, what if, but it's still the experience of, you saw the highest high. So now you're pursuing the highest high. And funny enough, like that's a thing that the best way of looking at when you come out of addictions is that your baseline is now lower than it ever was in terms of like how you feel on the day to day. So like if you stop, like I think there's an interview with John Mayer where he talks about this. When he stopped alcohol and he was getting off his alcohol addiction, he his baseline was low, and his threshold of like how he woke up every day was depressed. But then you wait and you still keep going, and then 6 months later your baseline's a little bit higher, and then a year later your baseline's a little bit higher, and it took like I think 2 to 3 years before he ever felt like normal again in terms of his baseline coming back to 0 instead of -5, and then -4, and then -3. And so you have to understand that these are dopamine receptors. These drugs, what they do is release these chemicals in your brain that allow you to feel good. And when you go from the highest high, you're going to come back down to a low because your body has used up all of that chemical. Thus, you now have to rebuild what that baseline is of coming back to 0 instead of -5 because you've used too much of that dopamine or serotonin or whatever.
Yeah. I think I kind of understand where John Mayer's coming from on that. Because for a while, I was like... I was like waking up, and I would always be super duper tired, even if I got like a full like...
I lost you, bud, if you can hear me.
Not fucking 12 hours of sleep. Like 8 hours of sleep before work. And recently I've had a lot more pep in my step.
Ben's internet
And
went
I think
down
I
again,
understand where he's coming from with that baseline. You know what I'm saying? God damn it!
Are you back?
I'm back. How much of that did you hear?
What'd you say?
Did you not hear me talking at all?
The last thing I heard about, I was about to text you. The last thing I heard was John Mayer. Like I think I understand John Mayer's point in that, and then you stopped.
Okay, so literally the important. Okay, we'll cut this little section out because literally the important part of what I was saying, my internet was like, fuck you. But so I understand where John Mayer's coming from because for a while now I've been waking up and been like extremely tired even after getting like a full 8 hours of sleep. But lately I've started having more pep in my step in the morning. I guess you could say like I've been feeling a lot happier. Like my baseline's gone up, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it's interesting the things that can trigger that, and also like the thing like understanding, you know, all right, how did I get here? People don't want to get introspective on themselves and like be like, oh, I am smoking every second of every day, so maybe I should probably relax that. When it comes to smoking cigarettes, the same thing. Like you release the same amount of serotonin in a half mile or a 1 mile walk as what you do when you smoke a cigarette. And so if you've got the time, go for a walk. I'm not saying don't smoke a cigarette on occasion. I understand everybody wants a little bit of happiness in their life. That's why I give homeless people a couple bucks or a beer. You know, I don't give a fuck. Whatever makes you happy. But there's also go for a walk. Go for a mile walk. Release that serotonin. Your body's meant... 100 years ago, you were a fucking person that had to run and sprint after a deer and then shoot on the run and hit them with an arrow. Okay? If you have any kind of battlefield genetics, like if you're white and you're Scandinavian white, you had genetics to where you guys went and fucking destroyed a village all of 300-400 years ago. All right? Y'all are meant to have movement in your life. If you're depressed because you haven't moved all day, it's because your ancestors are pissed.
They aren't happy with you, guy. Get out there and move.
Yeah. Go for a fucking walk. It's pretty good.
Get that
dude,
exercise.
Like, every time, like if I physically get like I feel anxiety come about me when I stay inside all day. And so if I go outside just for 30 minutes, go for a walk or just go do something outside, it makes me feel so much better. And I've started now, if I feel anxiety when I'm about to go to sleep, I'll just go work out. And if I go work out, I come back and I sleep like a fucking baby. Like that helps so much because there's this excess energy that either I've eaten into my body because I ate too many calories for what I burned, or like I haven't done enough mentally to where that's ready to wind down for the day.
Is that why you just randomly picked up my weights last night?
Yeah, I felt antsy, and so I needed to like just find a way to, you know, come back to normal. So like we're having a conversation and I'm doing bicep curls.
I mean, I also felt the need to just start pacing around the room, so
Yeah. You literally asked Piper to move out of the way so you could pace.
Yeah, I
It's
don't.
such an interesting fucking
Well,
thing.
my dad does the same thing. We both like to pace around if we're feeling like skittish about something.
That's funny. I like it. I understand.
But yeah.
Um,
I've got one last note because we kind of, actually two, but the second one kind of go into later one. Well,
it's all right. I mean, well, because like I think we record this as one big long session, and if we want, we can cut.
okay, because yeah, we're already at like 45 minutes.
Unless you want like have something to do today, and like you want to get out of this. Like,
Oh no, I don't.
all right, 'cause
Maybe just take like a break when we finish, a little break when we finish an episode.
Yeah, I might have to pee or get some water. So.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'll just cut that little bit out. um, and that too, actually. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, I got paranoid. Um, so one of the things that I had is they talked about using mindfulness, which mindfulness is the practice of like paying attention to how your body operates, like paying attention how you breathe while you meditate or while you go throughout the day doing stuff, and to pay attention if you get upset, what it is that made you upset and why it made you upset. Basically, it's just you going throughout your day and paying attention to what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's like a form of meditation that can help a lot.
Why
with
are you
stress.
doing the things you do? Why do you
Yes.
think the way you do? Yeah. And like I like the quote, "Meeting reality on reality's terms."
Yes. Yes.
I really enjoyed that because that's like what like I wrote down underneath it, hating philosophy. All the people that hate philosophy, they're scared to meet reality on reality's terms, because the thing is like, okay, memento mori, remember you die. That's so scary to some
Yeah.
people, but like hey, guess what, guys? It's the easiest thing you'll ever fucking do.
Yeah.
It really that's the best way of it being explained to me. It was that it's the easiest thing you'll ever do is die. Because guess what? It was gonna happen either way, and it doesn't matter how it happens. It's okay. Go to sleep.
Go nap time.
Take the long nap. You'll be okay.
A time to see what
And
happens next.
Mindfulness, yes, the practice of mindfulness is like coming from Buddhist terms, is just like meditation. Is that you focus? Just like the first thing in meditation when they first start teaching you is that, all right, sit down, get in what like there's the cross-legged position or whatever way, just whatever way you find to be comfortable. Just sit down, touching nothing, listening to nothing in pure silence, and there should be no like stimuli around you. Okay, now focus purely on your breathing, and then only on your breathing. And every time you feel your mind going away from that breathing, come back to that breathing. And that's where a mantra comes in. That's where like the and the term, like the the is the first and last letters of that alphabet. And so it's meant to be like a reverence for the eternal thing, the Alpha Omega, and their alphabet is Om. So Om, and constant reverence of the eternal thing that is. And so you are at the beginning and at the end, and reverence to that. And so you have a mantra. So your breathing is constantly there. You have a thing going through your mind and through your physical that you don't have to think about. And so it's practicing on focusing on one thing, and then eventually what true meditation is thinking of nothing and purely being the now. Like we've discussed this before, the now is different than what we perceive to be now, because it takes time for light and thought to actually like put into words, and like for you to think, it takes fractions of a second to react to something. Being in the true now is by not thinking at all. And so that's what meditation is bringing you to pure mindfulness, purely now. And so practicing that, focus purely on your breathing, and then eventually you'll learn on how to not even focus on it, and you are just being. And then throughout life, like people that are like yogis and like the monastics, they're people that are meditating at all points. So their thoughts, their words are purely thought out in reverence and understanding of the now. And purely focusing on how to exist and how to respond to this according to the thing that is. I have found a lot of good in terms of meditating with prayer, and so I'll hold this because I'm pretty sure Ben's internet just cut out again. Here, let me write it down. Yeah, Ben's internet cut out again. This is balls, Batman. It happens. I understand. Not all of us have this great internet. Shout out to Verizon for having some pretty good internet if you live in the city and you're near a Verizon tower. You back, baby?
I'm gonna fucking shoot myself.
It's alright. I actually I wrote down where I was going with it. So what was the last thing you heard?
Okay. I heard you, this honestly, it's kind of fucking hilarious. You went the it was when you were like the first and last letters of oh, and it just trailed off. I was like, where'd you go? Hey, baby, where'd you go?
Damn it. I went on further from there to get into something, but yeah, I'll go back to that. That's fine. All right. So the first and last letters of that alphabet are O and M, and so that is focusing on like the thing that is that eternal being. That's why like we have the term of the Alpha Omega. It's the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet, and I believe it's the Hindi alphabet is the first and last letters of the O and the M. So Om is in reverence of the eternal thing, in reverence to God, and so you focus purely on your breathing and on that thing that you don't have to think about through that mantra. And so I find a lot of similarities in this between the mantra and prayer. And so, like, what is it they teach you in Catholic schools is that you're supposed to do a rosary a day. Okay, well, in Zen Buddhism, you're supposed to do a meditation a day. And so you find that mantra, if you listen to any kind of the Buddhism that Tibetan Buddhism, which is that the Dalai Lama is the leader of, if you listen to them, they have these basically mantras that are long, but they're memorized. And you'll hear them speaking it out, and they have beads in their hand, and they're going through the bead one to the next. And it helps you co-in-line with the God or with the thing that is, with that ultimate being. Well, in Catholicism, you pray a rosary, which has beads, and then you go and you do these prayers, and they're memorized. And every so often, you come back in reverence to this thing. And so like every 10 beads, you go to an Our Father instead of a Hail Mary. Well, you're going around these beads with memorized prayers that don't require thought, and you're focusing in on the now. You're focusing your thoughts in on something beyond everything. And so you're no longer thinking, you're just being. And so when you do that, that is a beautiful practice. That is why like the monastics are able to give thoughtful answers. There's a TED Talk with a Buddhist monk, and he's bald. I can't remember his fucking name. I'll find it after a while. I'll probably put it in the description of this video. But that dude, like, you hear his thought. You hear him having these deep thoughts in the moment. But you also see that he is focused. There's no ums. There's no, like, filler. There's no likes. There's no buts. Like, he is simply meditating on your answer, like, on what you said to him, and his answer back to you is calm and with the now, and he waits. And I believe in eternal energies. You feel the energy, and if you align yourself with the energy of the universe, you can do the best good. And if you align yourself with the good energy of the universe in meditation and in always meditating, that is how you become like the best being you can as a human. So meditate, and I'm always meditating, and I'm taking that breath, and then whenever you ask me a question, I can give you a thoughtful answer that is in line with the good that I know to be true, and that I believe that there's things beyond this world that give you the proper answer and work the words out of your mouth so that you can stay in that meditation even while answering somebody. Fascinating to me.
Yeah, that was a very That was a lot to unpack with that answer. Can't lie. But fuck. I don't know how to fucking respond to that one, Dylan. That was a lot.
Yeah, I understand. That was years of thoughts coming out at once.
I was like, we've gone to like 20. I had a question formulated early on, or not a question, but a statement, and then you started talking about all kinds of other stuff, and I was like, oh Lord.
Sorry, cut me off if you need to.
But it's a very thoughtful answer. No, it was a very thoughtful answer. I enjoyed it, and it makes me want to meditate too, to be honest.
When I have found my most peace in this world when I have meditated them every day, and it is one of the things like they talk about. One of the things Duncan talks about actually in that episode is that in the next episode, I'm sorry, but in Christianity there's this great thing you can call Satan, and there's Satan pulls you away from the good. And so what is that thing that like I should meditate every day, but then like whatever that inner bitch is, and that not having that dedication, not having that discipline to go and do that, we can call that Satan. And so Satan is pulling me away from doing what I know is good and is good for me and all around me. So I need to do that.
I mean, it's nice having something that you can say that's what's bad.
Yes.
Like,
being able to put it into words.
It gives you something you can look at and think about.
I believe that's like part of like what Christian lore, like why it's like created in that way. No disrespect to Christianity, just like in terms of like writing, like they wrote the Bible, and like you have a person like a person in mind to go against, and that like they name is Lucifer. And so that person, you can say fuck that thing that you see as a person. I don't want to be like that. I need to go away from that thing and then be like this other person that we call God the Father. This big bearded the fucking sky dude, that guy. I need to be like him, not like that cunt down in hell that's Lucifer.
I need to be like the guy that's sitting in the cloud.
Yeah.
But talking about Christianity now, and you're talking about the similarities between Buddhism and that they both use beads to like reset their mind and like get them back on track.
Yeah, and a mantra.
Their beads and the rosary. Yeah, and they're both mantras. Like I always find it to be very interesting when you notice the similarities between other religions and other cultures that are hundreds or thousands of miles apart, and literally 100,000 miles apart, not like figuratively.
Yeah.
I always enjoy seeing those comparisons because it makes it feel like the whole world's more connected than you would think it is.
No, wholeheartedly. And so I actually took a class called World Religions, and we studied 10 to 15 different religions that year, and every one of them I saw like, oh, this
they
is
follow the same template.
Yes, they all have, and like a lot of look at history. A lot of things like you'll find similarities. Like in history, there's like the Jesus template, and so like the story in the Bible is you hear a story of Jesus as a young man, as like a child, being in the temple, and then he disappears for like 20 years. And then the next story is from when he's at a wedding in Cana. And so, like, there's these giant gaps in those people's lives. Well, when you look at history and you look at the leader of the Mongol Empire, which was
Genghis Khan,
thank you. I knew it was Khan. I lost Genghis for some reason.
Come on, Dylan.
I'm sorry,
You're supposed to know that. You're related to
my
him.
nickname in high school. When you look at Genghis Khan, and you look at his history of like how it was written, well, there's a story of when he was young and him like I can't remember if he like killed like his brother or somebody that was like
I think it was his brother.
Yeah, like
I think I remember Mr.
somebody
Cassidy
did
going
something
over that.
bad to him. He killed them when he was young. There's a giant gap in his story, and then all of a sudden he's back at like 20 to 30 years old. And like so that there's a template in history that how things are written, and that's a really interesting thing to recognize and see, and kind of meditate on that, which is like, okay, whether it's true or not, what is the point? Why was it written this way? Because there's a reason for that, and that's interesting to me to look into.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The whole.
No, that's the hard thing
Well,
about this discussing is that I know there are people that are gonna get butthurt and get aggravated about it, because like I'm not meaning any disrespect when it comes to religions, and like if you like wholeheartedly, if you believe that like how my religious views are is bad, okay, that's fine. Do your thing. I'm doing mine.
I don't think you've said anything that's especially like offensive.
Not yet.
Oh,
there is one. Me and Piper did a podcast that I think we're going to post this week. Is based around some religion stuff, and I kind of talk about Christians, and I think we talked about it a little bit in our last one that we recorded. I think we posted it this week. The one like just involving like Christian judgment and believing that if you don't believe exactly what they believe, you're going to hell. And so something that I've found in looking at all of these religions across the world is that they are very similar, but there's minor differences in them. And so remember that each person's different. So what works in America, and to have that religion, and it's good for you and how you think of the world, that's good. Okay. But how a kid in Africa sees the world is going to be very different. So maybe the religion that he has over there is going to be better for him than what this one offers in terms of how you're supposed to look at the world and what you take in as like, this is awesome. And same thing for, like Islam and Hinduism and Buddhism and so on and so forth. Like Buddhism is a sect of Hinduism. It was created by a Hindu, and and he wrote like his version of it. In
Siddhartha Gautama?
Yes, Siddhartha Gautama. Correct. Thank you for remembering.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like written down by him and his understudies, and like these things, all of the religions are interconnected in some way. Like you have the three Abrahamic religions in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and like they all are based around that same initial thing, and then they go in their separate ways from there. So what somebody believes in their life experience might be better off for Islam than Christianity, or Christianity than Judaism, or Judaism than Christianity, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, like it's kind of like how I've noticed there's been like a resurgence in paganism. Because I've noticed even with those big pagan religions, like the Greek religions or the Norse religions, there's still that same similarity. There's more gods, of course, but there's still the main god that is, essentially our god. Like there's Odin, and then there's Zeus. Like they follow that similar template as being the all-powerful one,
the god of gods. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So in Buddhism, you have bodhisattvas, which are beings that are beyond this world but help out individuals in this world. In Christianity, you have angels. And in like ancient Greek, you have the like Titans, and you have all of that shit. And so like,
and the Titans didn't really help people. The gods themselves, the lesser gods
the
themselves, are the ones that help people.
What I mean, yeah, sorry, I don't really know Greek lore like that well, but like in all of those, like you have gods, and then you have lesser gods that is not the all powerful god. So below them is this thing that helps, and like they're interacting with this universe. And then there's one that sits above them all. And so there are interesting things involving all of this, like that interconnect with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just...
Very true, sir.
Yes, sir. I don't know. But do you have any more notes for this first episode of the Midnight Gospel, sir?
This is going to be a long episode.
Oh, you've got more notes?
No. I mean, like, the whole episode is going to be a long episode. We just got through the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
I did have a quote. Actually that I liked from Buddha.
Yes.
That they mentioned in it. It's he compared anger to a flower with bitter roots.
Oh.
I really like that quote. The quote. I really like that quote because anger. I guess the way you could interpret it is being like, anger kind of feels good when you first have it because it lets you like express yourself and get what you need to get out of you. But once everything's done and through and you go to the bottom of it, it just leaves you hurting. Like drinking an IPA. Like, you think it's a good idea at first, and then you drink it, and you're like, this tastes terrible.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, that's a very good quote. And, like, I interpret it like just humans in themselves are very beautiful creatures. Like, the fact that we have awareness and who we are, and the fact that, like, we're a combination of a clump of cells into this thing that is this giant one living organism, and that we can help and control and the environment around us. We can help the environment around us. There's people that flip turtles over and, help hurt fish and pull dumbass fucking turtle straws out of their nose, and all those coke addict turtles out there.
You leave turtles alone, Dylan.
I fucking hate turtles, dude. They're so fucking dumb. Like, why the fuck?
I will throw hands with you.
Never fucking break your rings. Throw all the plastic straws in the ocean. Fuck them.
They can't see them. They're in the water. Can you see very well when you're underwater, Dylan?
I don't actually hate turtles. What my issue is that I'm in Kentucky, and they're like, you need paper straws. And what my issue is
here?
I don't live on the fucking coast. So my fucking trash goes into landfill. It doesn't get fucking exported to the ocean. All of the coastal states, that's your fucking issue. Y'all need to figure something out there. But here,
Amen.
We've got our shit figured out. Also, fuck plastic. We need to go to hemp. Hemp actually has a stronger plastic and can be more fibrous.
Why are you fucking bitching about having plastic straws, and then you turn around and say we need to go to hemp?
I don't like plastic straws. All I'm saying is I don't like paper straws more. Because paper straws fucking melt halfway through my drink, and it pisses me off, and then I feel like I don't know, chewing on toilet paper.
Okay, that's fair.
Fuck turtles.
No!
I'm gonna have fuck turtles merch.
I'm gonna have save the turtles merch.
All right, vote for Dylan for fuck turtles. Vote for Ben for save the turtles.
Listen, Dylan, you can't just go and smack talk my favorite animal like that without expecting some clapback, dude.
I'm telling you, what my shirt's gonna be is a fucking turtle doing lines off a table with its little fin, because it's gonna have a straw up his nose.
Fuck you. Mine's gonna be that same turtle, but there's gonna be another turtle pulling the straw out of his nose.
Oh, turtles are friends. Righteous, brother.
Righteous, dude.
Totally fucking
See a sea turtle shredding gnar, Dylan. You'd understand.
Very well. Sea turtles are cool.
All right.
All right. I think that's a good place to end this first episode. And I gotta go pee.